to Are You Still Listening, a podcast about Netflix. I am your best friend host, Melissa, and I'm the cute one.
And I'm your other best friend host, Michael, and I will take him out and fix the baby.
Alrighty.
That's what I'm bringing this week.
I mean, it's good. I do enjoy it.
Absolutely. And this is still, like she already said, are you still listening? You're back. We're here. You're here.
And we're here to talk about the Antichrist.
We are here to talk about the Antichrist and his dad. And then his stepdad.
Yeah. This actually isn't about a Netflix movie. We're going to go over Revelation. I'm kidding. It is about a Netflix movie.
Let me pull it up real quick, because when the seventh seal breaks and the earth land will quake, then the scorpions with human heads will come.
Gary, the stepdad, will
I don't remember that
save
part
all of us.
See, I don't remember that part of Revelations.
I'm pretty sure it was right there in Revelation.
Well, see, when I went to church camp in Louisiana, Camp Fuego, and I, between the breaks of
was it actually called that?
Yeah, it was called Camp Fuego.
Oh my god.
I mean, wait, what?
I just find it really okay, because I just associate that with the taco place, and then also this one really silly movie about the Alamo I watched once.
Okay. I don't know if it was called that just because it was so hot in Louisiana. I mean, I don't know why else they would have called it. I mean, I guess On Fire for God,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But, when we were in breaks between, our playing soccer in the heat and taking a dip in the pool and learning about abstinence, when my DG leader sat down and said, hey, we're going to talk about Revelations, I don't remember the part where he talked about Gary the stepdad. Can you enlighten me on the part that I missed?
Man, really? Because in my church camp, they sat us down and were like, hey, today I know we spent the whole rest of yesterday talking about abstinence, and we do want to get back to that.
We do, but we don't want to stay for too long, because we know when we start talking about it for more than a couple hours at a time, things get wild.
The minute we stop texting you, it's not texting.
When you subscribe to the St. Mary's email list, and every hour on the hour we text you and remind you that God is watching.
Yeah, the reason I'm not dating anybody is because every time I'm about to kiss a boy, my pastor texts me and is like, nuh-uh. Yeah. No, but they took a break from the abstinence stuff to tell us all about Gary. We took 3 hours just on Gary.
Interesting. So tell me about Gary. How would you describe him physically? Does the Bible give a very imagery-filled description of him?
They say, weirdly enough, they're like, and there will be a time where people can recall a vision of something called Parks and Recreation, and he'll look a lot like Ben Wyatt.
I am glad that we can all agree that we're going to be describing him as Ben Wyatt and not whatever that actual guy's name is. I certainly have never heard, or if I have, it definitely hasn't been written over by Ben Wyatt.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this week we're talking about a movie called Little Evil. But before we get into that, we've got a bone to pick with y'all.
Yes.
So we have opened our doors. We've opened our audio, and you've clicked the audio, and you've listened to us talk and bullshit our way through Netflix movies.
And hopefully you've liked it.
And hopefully you've liked it, because we really had a really good time doing this, and it's been very fun.
Yeah.
And we appreciate your patronage. But we also opened an email account. And we haven't gotten a single email from anybody so far. That ends today. Melissa, I'm putting my foot down.
He's slapping his foot on the recording studio table right now. Oh my God.
I'm putting my foot down. And we're going to get some emails.
Get your feet off the table.
So we have an idea.
This is a house.
In this house, we respect our audio equipment. The first person who sends an email to our email, which is ayslpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes. And suggests a Netflix movie. It does have to be on Netflix. I'm sorry.
It has to be on Netflix to fit the theme of this show, but it can be a movie. It can be the first episode of a TV show or a specific episode.
It can be a weird documentary.
I'm going to say any content that is on Netflix and under the 2-hour mark.
Yeah.
We will watch and we will review and talk about in classic AYSL fashion for the episode, not the episode following this episode, but the one after that.
Yeah, because the episode following this episode, fun fact, is going to be on Christmas. Yeah. And we've kind of got big plans for it.
Yeah.
So, like, stick around later. We're going to talk about it, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's super great. Our bi-weekly schedule ended up where we're releasing, on this Tuesday, and then the next episode is going to be coming out on Christmas Day, which is really exciting. But, again, we'll talk about what really bad Christmas movie we're going to be watching for that later.
Yeah, but if one of you emails us, the first person to email us a movie suggestion, or just like, I guess you do have to suggest a movie, but like you don't have to email about the movie. You can email about something else as long as you like put the movie in the bottom, like a terrible time bomb that you have handed on to us.
Yes, but
we'll do it.
And again, choose it carefully because no matter what, we will talk about it. And maybe we're going to be in a situation where we regret saying this, but as of now, no matter what, we are going to talk about it. So choose it carefully.
Yeah. I mean, like, we are going to talk about it. If it ends up being, like, terrible, the episode title will be, like, the title of that movie, and then, look what you made us do, Steve.
And we are going to, the thing is, it's kind of a double thing. If you enjoy being roasted, we will roast you the entire time for making us watch this awful movie. So I hope you'll appreciate it. But regardless, again, we're very much we're growing an audience base, and it's actually been a really awesome experience. We love you guys, but this is a special one-time only offer. And again, we will be still taking suggestions from people in the future. Like, feel free to send more stuff. And if you have good ideas for bad or just heinous stuff for us to watch, we will do it. But especially, this is a one-time guarantee. The first person to email, we will do it. Anything else on that, Melissa?
Yeah, no, I don't think I have anything else to say.
Okay, good. My foot has been removed from the table. We're back to our zen. We're back to our, podcasting equilibrium, homeostasis.
Yeah. And as such, Michael, would you maybe want to get us rolling in here by
gonna enlighten y'all with my 45-second plot. Gonna tell y'all what's up with this movie and what's up with the little evil that's going on in it,
Yeah. Do you want a 3, 2, 1? Could you pass me the mouse there?
Maybe I'll just do. Yeah, no, I'll pass you the mouse. Here you go.
Thank you.
This is going to be an amalgamation of stuff I've written down and stuff that I'm going to be coming up with out of my head. So I think the fact that I have failed every single 45-second or 30-second plot thus far may speak to my just complete inadequacy and buffoonery, but...
You mean like the one that you've done?
Oh, yeah, the only one time I ever did it.
Yeah. This is like, that was your first test, and you didn't do so hot on that one, but like this is your midterm, and...
I felt like I did it more than once, but I don't know. Okay, I'm ready, though. All right, 3.
2.
I said 3, and that threw everything off.
Yeah, but... like, why did you say 3? That's my job. 3, 2, 1.
Ben Wyatt. Trevor from The Good Place. Adam Scott. His character, just wants to be a good stepdad to a little boy who is the son of the woman that he has recently married. He has not gotten to know his son very well, but he ends up being very creepy and in classic horror movie fashion does things to him like draws blood all over him, makes it rain blood on him, and buries him in a coffin in the backyard. When Ben... whatever his name is, when he is overcome with grief and anxiety about the entire situation, and upon realizing that the son is actually the antichrist, he first tries to run away, then tries to kill him, but then realizes that he has the free will to choose what he wants to do, so he defeats Satan in a cool showdown and wins the trust of his wife and stepson.
Yeah, you got it.
Heck yeah. I'm just gonna sidle on in here to the winner's corner where all the cool people hang out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come sidle in next to you and your many trophies that you've won from your successful 45-second plots.
His son, for brief characters clarification, is legitimately the Antichrist.
Oh yeah, no, it is made very, very abundantly clear that he is the actual, legitimate, literal Antichrist, who incarnate of Satan and all that.
Which, let me tell you, I wasn't exactly expecting. I was half thinking that the plot twist halfway through the movie, like at the end of the movie, was going to be that the son wasn't actually supernaturally creepy in any sort of way, and that Ben Wyatt was just going insane.
Oh no, I thought that it was going to be more of just like, I mean, he wasn't the actual antichrist, but he was just very adept at making these extremely creepy things happen.
Yeah, or that the kid was trying to drive Ben Wyatt off, but not because he was actually the antichrist, just because he was a very smart kid and was playing into the trope.
Okay, but I don't think neither of us can really be blamed for that. The mythos of this, like the world that is created in this movie, sometimes it seems to play kind of loosey-goosey with some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like some of the other, he goes to this stepdad support group where he's a member with a bunch of other stepdads who are like trying to connect with their stepsons. And do you remember the part where they're at the birthday party and there's those two little girls in the little Victorian dresses?
Yes.
That, you know, the other parent comes to pick up and they seem to be doing something really creepy or demonic too. And I'm just
I think they were just standing there holding hands being creepy twins.
Okay, but they didn't actually do anything demonic though.
Although, I feel like if you had pale-faced little girl twins, as a parent, it would just be your job not to dress them in creepy Victorian dresses and send them out into the world.
That's just dropping the ball on that one.
Yeah.
Come on.
Which, same thing with, oh my gosh. What's the kid's name?
Lucas.
It
took me a second because I couldn't remember it in my 45-second plot because I was kind of all over the place. But...
Yeah. I mean, you did a very good bit in the first 3 seconds, but you really burned your first 3 seconds on the bit.
Literally, all I had written on my doc was the initial bit of the names. But then after that, I realized, oh crap, I'm actually going to have to explain the plot of the movie now.
Yeah, because Lucas's mom kind of drops the ball on that too, because she has an already slightly creepy son and decides, you know what I'm going to dress him as? In a scary little sailor outfit with a little hat and little buckle shoes.
Let him grow his hair just a little bit too long.
Yeah.
I mean, he had nice hair, though.
He did.
It's actually pretty nice. Okay, so once again, or as per usual, we usually don't get too in-depth into the actual plot of the movie. Hopefully. Okay, I will say, though, I mean, I think we've discussed this a little bit already. This is the first ubiquitously fucking great movie that we're bringing on this podcast.
Yeah,
this was a good movie. Like, this is the first one I would totally unapologetically recommend to someone.
Which is interesting because I picked it thinking this sounds like it's gonna maybe be a bad movie, and I had looked it up and I had seen that the Rotten Tomato score wasn't great. But what's interesting is that the Rotten Tomato audience score is bad, but the Rotten Tomato critics score is great.
What's interesting is that everyone on Rotten Tomatoes are actually little bitches, is the thing.
They're always cannot appreciate true art.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, honestly, I don't know. I think sometimes like just the actors make the movie, and I just didn't. I mean, I know you had told to me already that Adam Scott was in it, and to me, in my mind, I was already like, I don't think this movie can really be bad at this point.
Yeah.
Like, even if it was somehow really bad, it wouldn't be unenjoyable because he was in it.
Yeah, because just the concept of a comedy parody of The Omen, except with Adam Scott
as a stepdad,
is really, really good.
Oh my God. And it really does sometimes. It is a little half-baked. Like, it feels like they just kind of took the premise. I mean, they didn't really do too much exploring on it. They just kind of went with this premise. But they did get a lot of really funny scenes out of it. Really good, playing with audience expectations of, like, horror tropes and everything. Very, very good.
I really wish I had ever actually watched The Omen before watching this movie, because I know enough about it to know that, like, Omen references are being made with, like, the tricycle and stuff.
Oh, but I didn't know it was that much directly referencing it.
Oh, like,
I'd never seen it either.
I don't know how much is directly pulled, but I know there are definitely references in there that I know obliquely enough to tell that was probably a reference, but I haven't actually seen the movie enough to pick them all out.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. I, as a general habit, don't watch that many horror movies.
Yeah.
Like, even just the 3 or 4 kind of bad, like, B-tier ones we've watched for this podcast have been, good, but I just don't have a ton of experience with them. I guess Babysitter was more thriller than, like, thriller comedy.
Yeah.
But we, I I just don't have a ton of experience with horror, but like I know the tropes when I see it. Like, there's like just him swinging on a swing is very creepy.
Yeah.
Like late at night, the stuff with like him on a tricycle, him like behaving a certain way, talking to I think isn't him talking into the static of the TV kind of from, I think that's from Poltergeist?
Yes, that's from Poltergeist, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I know it's one of the classic horror movies with the where like the house was built on top of like an old burial ground and yeah.
Yeah, they do definitely pull a lot of the classic horror tropes because again, they're just playing on the fact that I do like the natural kind of flow of the movie where it starts off with, just a son who's like this is the most creepiest thing that can happen, and then just kind of slowly expanding on the world building from there. Yeah. It's really fun.
Well, I like that they started with a very snap scene, which is the mom running out of the house, grabbing a shovel, and then seeing her kid like standing over a freshly churned plot of earth, and then being like, "That's it, Lucas, time out," and then digging up like the big box,
essentially a coffin that Ben Wyatt's been shoved in.
Yeah, and then opening it and being like, "Oh God, Greg," and the first thing he says is just, "I want a divorce," and then it hard cuts to like 2 weeks earlier.
Isn't that I think there's a term in literary kind of circles for that kind of lead, especially in literary. What?
In media res?
I think it's no. I think in media res is more usually when like the series just kind of starts and there's a lot of things you don't know.
Yeah.
I think someone's made fun of me for this before, but I think it's called like a big potato lead.
Wait, what?
I specifically. Yeah, no, like this is a thing. I remember hearing about it in high school English class. A big potato lead jumps right into the middle of the action or story and then leave the reader wanting more. So basically, like, that's a legitimate literary term for when they start in the middle of a scene and there's like super action and they cut and they're just like, but wait, let's go back and explain all this.
That's wonderful. I never known that there was an official literary term for the, what I just been referring to as the record scratch. I bet you're wondering how I got here.
Dum dum dum. Wait, no, wrong thing. What's the meme where it pops up the filter and it's like to be continued?
Oh man, I don't know the song.
Okay, but I think I found a little thing. It's called a big potato lead because you dig into the story, find an interesting moment, and pull it to the top, like a potato.
Like a potato. Literary people are good at naming things.
Yeah. No, I remember that specifically, but I didn't know if I just made that up being a dingus or if that was an actual thing.
No, that's really good, and I like it a lot.
Excellent. Okay, but no, I very much enjoy the lead of this movie. And then, they do the classic thing where they have all the build up and it gets to that scene later in the movie, but, you have a little more knowledge about everything that's going on at that point. They kind of speed through it a little more.
It's really good. I thought maybe like a good idea would to just be to kind of go through just like, I guess, high points of the movie. We don't really have too many low points, but I have a lot of parts that were just really good that I want to talk about.
Oh, I have some things I took note of as well. And I mean, again, I think it's going to be a really interesting kind of, format and feel for this episode because, I mean, again, like I said, this is one of the first things we've talked about where it's just us kind of being excited about kind of a delightful movie we watched.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I like the energy a whole lot. And I think it kind of informs us on, what kind of stuff we're going to watch going forward. Because, I don't know, like, we've only just started this episode, but I just really like talking about stuff that's fun, like just stuff that I really enjoyed watching.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, bad movies, you do enjoy watching them in a different way, but anyway, it was very delightful.
That's why I feel like Bright was a very good episode.
I think that was why that was such a solid first episode, because again, obviously it had its issues, but
we really liked Bright.
We stand Bright in this house. Okay. Should we remember the Netflix icons, how they changed?
Yes.
So I realized just the other day that they changed a lot of the Netflix icons you use on your little profile pictures, and you can have a lot of specific icons from different specific movies or TV shows, and Bright is one of the options. So you can have like Jacoby as your Netflix icon now.
So if we wanted to, we could change our logo to just the same logo, but with little pictures of Will Smith and Jacoby on our heads.
I feel like we maybe have problems with that.
No, it wouldn't go so hot, but we could do it.
Technically, our logo's outdated now, but for now, we're going to keep it because it's very, very good.
Also, I guess since it's outdated, maybe it's less likely that Netflix will tell us to give it back.
Oh yeah, because I mean, in our first days of constructing the podcast, there was some part that was worried, like, what if Netflix somehow sees that we're using its logos and then gets mad and tells us to stop using them or cease and desist or whatever. But now it's just like, yeah, those are our old shitty logos. We have better ones now. Like, what are y'all doing?
We don't even want those logos anymore. You can have them.
Steve, we're leaving. Okay, so do you have any high points or just general good stuff that you liked about this movie that you want to start out with?
Okay.
That was quite a breath.
I really like the dad support group.
First off, I'm going to spoil it. Turk makes his reappearance.
Yes.
Turk from Scrubs is back in his second AYSL episode. Hi, welcome back.
Wait.
Oh.
Michael.
Oh, God. Okay, Turk. Okay. I forget. Okay. Never mind. Okay, Turk was in Hotbot. We've
never seen Turk in a movie on AYSL before. Definitely.
Turk from Scrubs was in Hotbot, which, again, was the only good thing about that movie. But we're
going to proceed. Turk from Scrubs and Angela from The Office. They were the only saving grace of that terrible movie.
We're going to proceed before this becomes another Hotbot adjacent episode. Talk to me about other good things, Melissa.
Yes.
Save me from this place.
Mostly because, okay, I'm pretty sure the guy wasn't the same actor for Pimento from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But he gave me the same vibes. But the one who was just really obsessed with pooping in his kid's backpack is Revenge.
That was his whole character arc.
Yeah, that was his whole character arc. They were just all swapping stories of how being a stepdad is basically the worst. And it was just... And I guess... the part I liked about it was the juxtaposition of the normal stepdad things and then Greg being like, my stepchild is the antichrist, and then going, no, but you have it easy.
Yeah, no, he's just... Adam Scott goes, my son, I think he's evil incarnate. Like, I think he's the spawn of Satan. And the other dad goes, well, let me tell you about what my kid is. Like, all kids are like that.
They all go, join the club. Which is like, it was a good comedic break, and then like the stepdad squad ended up being part of the people who like saved the day in the end, which was really good.
See,
and
I think a lot of movies like this tend to have the kind of little group, that like forms kind of like that, and at the end they all gather up and save the day. I think this is actually one of the examples where they're not as prominently featured. They're kind of in and out, but they're not. Even the weird kind of inexplicable sidekick that he has in the other Al.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the character name. Even that weird sidekick that he has in them is kind of not really explained. They're just kind of there. And then the other stepdads are also just kind of present at some point. They don't really get a lot of character development. Again, which is bad, but also, I mean, I don't say bad, but it's kind of upsetting, but at the same time it's also great because that means that some things happen. Like this one character where his whole arc is just that he wants to get everyone to shit in his kid's backpack because his kid shit in his stock drawer or something.
Yeah, which was like at the top of the shelf. He's like, the kid climbed up there.
He has this whole dramatic monologue where he talks about the mirror was turned around, so I know he was looking at himself doing it.
Yeah, so the rest of the dad step group isn't really too well developed. They're basically inserted so they can be his sidekicks later. Mm-hmm. Al, on the other hand, is kind of there throughout the whole process, and I like Al.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's as just a weird, not normal foil to Ben Wyatt, who's aggressively normal and likable. Because
Ben Wyatt is like, I mean, Adam Scott, but Ben Wyatt.
You can say
and
Ben
also
Wyatt.
Just every character that he plays to some extent, with the notable exception of Trevor from The Good Place, is like if every accountant somehow merged to form one super accountant.
I don't know how they nailed it on the head so hard with like the Ben Wyatt characterization of him as a lovable accountant.
Yeah.
But it was very, very good.
Yeah.
But so I do like his characterization.
He's a realtor in this one, which is another, I feel like, aggressively normal career.
Mm-hmm. I don't know he's the keymaster, Melissa.
Yes. He's the keymaster.
Oh, we should talk about one of the other characters who I guess is kind of important as far as plot goes, but not really important, like doesn't get a lot of screen time, is the Doomsday Reverend.
Yes.
He's kind of portrayed... Okay, I have to look up the character name again because... So I did find out... I was wondering who this guy was because I'd seen him in other stuff before. Basically, in this movie, he's kind of like a classic doomsday priest guy.
Yeah.
Preaching, like televangelizing about how the world's going to end and there's the rapture and everything. But when I did a quick IMDb search on him, I realized he voiced Surtur and Thor Ragnarok. The guy with the big horns from the beginning of Thor Ragnarok, which is really, really good. Clancy Brown, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, he did a really good job playing a very creepy priest, buying this old abandoned nunnery at the very beginning of the movie.
If you look him up, I think you'll recognize him. But basically his whole plot arc is he buys up this weird abandoned nunnery church thing because their whole deal, spoiler alert, is that they want to bring about the end of the world by like killing the antichrist and kind of letting
turning his body into a vessel for the devil.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why everybody was so confused on how the antichrist rules worked, because the guy who was supposed to save the day, who then immediately got killed, like in a car accident.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was convinced that in order to save the world, you had to kill the Antichrist. And I don't know whether he was evil and lying or just very confused.
Remember, the Reverend gets the Knife of Destiny from their house.
Yeah.
Because there's this whole thing where...
there's a Knife of Destiny.
Just for weird plot reasons, they meet up with another one of these classic kind of doomsday figures, like doomsday prepper kind of eccentric guy.
Yeah.
So, because he has, they basically just tell him, blah, 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 I think my son might be the Wait, when did he actually decide that his son was... Oh, the wedding footage!
The wedding footage!
I totally forgot about that. We have to go over that first. Do you want to talk about it?
Yes. Okay. So... a plot point at the very beginning of the movie is that something bad happened at the wedding, but we don't know what it was.
It's mentioned 2 or 3 times, just like, oh, I heard about what happened at your wedding. Yeah. Sorry about all that.
And the wedding photographer keeps calling Ben Wyatt and saying, oh my gosh, you gotta look at this footage. You gotta look at this footage. And Ben Wyatt keeps going, no, we decided we didn't want to relive those memories. It was just like a really bad day, but we're married now and it's all good, so... And then finally, Ben Wyatt, after a little while of Lucas being creepy, decides to go to the wedding photographer. So the wedding photographer shows him the wedding video, and the wedding gets taken out by like a gigantic tornado. I'm sorry, I hiccuped. And gets taken out by a gigantic tornado. And everybody's getting blown away, and they're like, oh, we didn't even find some guests. Like, apparently there was an offhand joke about Gary's Uncle Greg being there.
Yeah.
And that he hadn't even known Uncle Greg had attended to the wedding. And then he goes, oh, so that's why I hadn't heard of them. So Uncle Greg died. And at the very end of the footage, it's like there's this gigantic raging tornado behind him, and then Lucas is just standing there staring straight at the camera in the middle of like the raging winds and the chairs all being blown everywhere, just completely still, and staring at the camera.
Adam Scott is still at this point in the movie in like full denial of the horror movie mode, where he's like, I guess he had a lot of gel in his hair, that's why his hair is not moving.
It was good. And then the photographer is the one who points him to the Doomsday Man.
Yes.
Which, okay, I know we talked about this a little bit, but vis-a-vis Sword of Destiny, because the cultists know about it. But is it because I can't decide whether the Doomsday Man knew that it was for evil to like open a portal to hell, or whether the Doomsday the cultists just knew that it was that, and had this guy deluded for whatever reason.
Yeah, just to reiterate one more time, because, you know, most of y'all didn't watch the movie. So kind of the whole thing that we discovered at the very end is that these doomsday cult Satanist type people who want to bring about the end of the world, their whole thing is that they want to kill him with this special knife, and that's going to bring Satan into the world. And they know that, and they want that. But so we meet this doomsday prepper guy who says, hey, I have this cool knife that my dad gave me, and it's supposed to be used to kill the Antichrist so that, like, everything's going to be fine. So, like, it is definitely, I know, like, Melissa, basically, you already said just that, but it's a very confusing thing of, you know, is he trying to subvert them and he wants to bring about the end of the world? Because you could make an argument for that because, like, he seems to sell a lot of survival type stuff.
That's true.
But if he really believes the world's going to end, I don't know why he would try to... I don't know. I think it doesn't really make sense in his character. Yeah. Because he seems very earnest about, you know, saving everybody.
And stabbing the Antichrist.
Right. Because also, like, wait, is he the one or is it Al that tells Ben to just kind of, like, throw him under the water with the weighted down floaties?
That's Al.
Oh, okay.
Al says... Well, I do want to go into talking about that later.
Okay.
I want to save that for a later date. Before we talk about that, I want to talk really quick about the cultists. Because throughout the whole movie, I wasn't sure whether they were just creepy people in a cult or whether they were legitimately demons. Because the one Child Protective Services lady legitimately said a line at one point where she said something like, oh, yes, and I'm just a normal human woman. And...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think they might have been legitimate minor demons.
I think that's an interesting angle. Because also Ben Scott punches... Or Ben... I called him Ben Scott.
Ben Scott.
Adam Wyatt, Ben Scott, and their many friends.
Yeah. Ben Wyatt and his alter ego, his mild-mannered alter ego, Adam Scott.
Yeah, so he punches the lady in the face, which is very cathartic.
Cathartic? Sorry, that was a...
Actually...
Sorry.
Actually, Michael... Actually... Pretty sure it's cathartic. No, it's okay. It's a dick move for me to make fun of, like, you for correcting... No, it was... I think you're right, and I think that's just something that I say, like, I think I know how it's spelled, but I just say it wrong a lot of the time, but... Thank you for correcting me. It's fine, but...
No, I always feel like... Because I think I've noticed it once or twice before, and I'm always tempted to be like say so, but, like, I always feel like... I'm like, no, it's like a...
Oh, so you thought now was the time?
I'm sorry.
In front of all these people.
I'm sorry.
You thought you could drag me through the mud.
It's just like...
you thought you could pull out all the receipts on me.
I couldn't
now.
stop the impulse. I'm going to be honest, part of my brain was like... If you don't correct it, the whole podcast audience will think that you also think this is right, which was...
So, in order to protect me from the wolves, you had to throw me under the bus.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Maybe one day I'll learn to forgive you. Anyway.
Now I feel like a tool.
No, no one is a tool on this podcast. We're just two cool fools looking to take you to movie school.
That was very good.
Excellent.
That was very good.
I feel accomplished. Okay, I don't know what the fuck we were talking about.
Ben Wyatt punching old lady in the face.
It was good. Next thing.
Good.
Yeah, but I don't know if she's a demon or what. I don't know what her situation was.
Because the devil is real, and he's actually definitely this kid's, like, legitimate father.
Yeah, okay. That's what I want to get into for my high point. Yes. I think maybe my favorite part of the whole movie was, tiny high point first. There's this one scene where he's talking to, like, school counselors and stuff because Lucas basically told one of his teachers to kill herself, and then she did. Well,
he said to go to hell, and then she,
And then she, like, jumped out of a window. It was really bad.
She poured lye in her own face and then jumped out of the window, which I think is an Omen adjacent reference, but I only know about the Omen through a second comedy Omen parody that's a book, which is weird that the Omen has so many comedy parodies, but here we are. But I'm pretty sure that might also be the Omen reference.
Yeah. And oh my goodness, we're living in the third layer of hell now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's talking to the school school principal or something, and also a psychiatrist. And his whole shtick is every time Adam says something, the psychiatrist goes, "Mm-hmm." And he goes, yeah, that's what happened. And he goes, mm-hmm. And he starts writing stuff down. And he's like, what are you writing down? And he goes, mm-hmm.
It's really good.
The classic, psychiatrist. And how does that make you feel,
Yeah.
Very good. But that was just a small thing. Did you have anything else to say about that?
No, I wanted to get into Ben Wyatt's wife.
My wife.
My wife.
His wife.
It's inconclusive whether she is actually
you can say
done the deed with the devil.
You can say, wait, hold on.
Whether she's actually done the devil.
Okay, quick diversion. So we have furries. Furries are people that are kin with animals. We have, I think there's other words for different things. There's, scalies for,
Michael,
people
no.
who are weird with, weird dragon art or whatever. Lizard, whatever. I've been to too many bad places at Tumblr. There's bad labels for a bunch of different people. What do you call Satan kin? Or people who want to have sex with Satan?
Horny?
Okay, because I was thinking something in the school of, furry, scaly, something to do with his skin. Oh wait, you could call him red ass. If Satan is red.
That's the Texas A&M thing. Here, see, I thought you were just leading me to the horny joke. I thought you wanted me to make that.
Oh no, I literally didn't think of it till now. You brought that to me. That's very good. I think that's a good one. So, but you can't just say tag yourself on Tumblr and say I'm horny. That's everybody on Tumblr all the time.
I guess you would be you're a horny.
That makes it seem like you've been diagnosed with you are diagnosed with sexual attraction. For that, you must be put to death vis-a-vis the Tumblr guidelines at post December 17th.
Oh my gosh.
We're not going to get into that.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the original thing.
Yes.
So, Ben Wyatt has a pretty stressful situation with the stepson, with Lucas. Do you remember what happened?
I think that was... Actually, no, I think that was after he got buried.
No.
No, that wasn't after he got buried.
That was when he called this kid the Antichrist and he got totally sent off for a while.
Yeah. This was...
It was some minor incident.
Yeah,
if you remember it, you can butt in. But,
yeah.
So he has some minor incident with Lucas and he's getting kind of stressed out. But, his wife is obviously trying to be very calming.
She's giving him a massage while this is happening.
Yeah. And she's very much in denial of everything, partially because I think she kind of knows, but she just doesn't want to chase off any more guys like she really wants. And all three of her husbands have died in freak accidents caused by Lucas. Almost definitely. The movie very strongly implies it.
Yeah, there was a wood chipper accident.
A wood chipper incident, yes. So she's giving him a massage and goes, we're not a normal family and blah, 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 blah. And she kind of tries to bury the lead. She goes, and, the conception of Lucas wasn't exactly ideal. But, and she proceeds and she goes forward and he's like, he lets it go for a little bit and he kind of lies there in silence and you're just kind of waiting there as an audience member.
Yeah.
And then he goes, how exactly did that go again? Because I don't think you told me. And, she kind of goes, I guess I'm going to have to talk about this, and goes, well, you remember how I told you when I was in my 20s and, for a little while I was a member of that kind of cult, that thing, the little culty little thing, little extracurricular I was involved in.
She's like, yeah, I dropped out of college. I joined a cult. And then there was this one thing. They were really surprised to learn I was a virgin.
Yeah, they were super surprised about it.
Yeah, so they threw a party and they covered me with warm red body paint.
Quick tangent, which is this lady who's playing this woman is Evangeline Lilly, and she's fucking incredible.
She does a great job.
Anyway, but proceed.
And they covered me with warm red body paint. And then, there must have been some sort of alcohol involved because I don't really remember what happened next.
I had some terrible nightmare.
I had the most horrible nightmare.
And then when I woke up, I was
yeah,
pregnant.
and then presumably, a month or so down the line, she took a test and was like, whoop.
Yeah, so she was taken in by cult members who bathed her in blood, did some stuff to her, and then was presumably impregnated by Satan.
Yes.
Yeah.
And apparently she's been on the run ever since, because the cult members said, "Oh, you thought you could run from us, but you couldn't hide from us forever."
Okay, here's the thing though, because obviously the whole premise of it is that this kid has to be killed either on or before his 6th birthday, which is June 6th. Yes. Because the whole thing is that he's like born June 6th,
Yeah.
6th, the whole thing. But the whole thing is that he has to be killed either before or on that day. I'm not sure which. I think it might be specifically on, because the whole thing is that like the Reverend is like in the area, and like the CPS lady, who tends up being part of the cult, she comes directly to them. I think it's implied that they've been keeping an eye on her this whole time. Like she hasn't been running from them this whole time. I think it's implied that they know where she is.
Oh,
they're just waiting until the day to like take over. Because also the whole thing is that they thought the reason why they didn't intervene until the very end of the movie is because they thought that he would do it as the dad. Yeah. They thought he would just get driven over the edge and kill him.
I don't know why they wanted him to do their dirty work. But
I don't know. I think there was some significance. Like a lot of people were talking about all the significance of him being like the father.
Yeah.
Like the new weird stepdad or something.
Yeah. Because what if he'd killed the kid but not on holy ground? Wouldn't that have not opened up the devil portal?
Yeah, because there was a whole thing where he had to be killed on holy ground. That's why they bought the nunnery, just in case he wouldn't do it.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Anyways, this brings us into a good segue into the fact that Gary, a.k.a. Ben Wyatt, legit comes this close. You can't see how close my fingers are together, but they're very, very close together.
Can I get a quick peek? It looks like you're just touching them together. Oh, wait. Oh, damn. That's really close.
To murdering a kid in cold blood.
Yeah, because he takes Al's suggestion and he... because they say it counts as hollow ground because apparently the water park was blessed by the Pope at some point.
Which is really a really, really good detail, and that actually made me laugh out loud.
And honestly, Pope Francis would. But,
cool Pope.
He takes the kid to this water park and fills up some floaties with sandbags.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, this is like the big development part of the movie where he has all these like bonding moments with, Lucas, and Lucas is like smiling with him and he feels close to him. I don't know.
They have exactly one father-son bonding montage.
Which honestly, I don't know if there's anything specific that's supposed to like trigger all of a sudden Lucas wanting to bond with him.
Yeah, Lucas is suddenly just a lot more cool.
Yeah, because like the whole movie, he's been like trying to send Ben Wyatt away or kill him or whatever. But now for the first time, all of a sudden he's super receptive to him and everything.
Yeah,
I think it's somewhat implied that he kind of, because Lucas is only 6 years old, but it's kind of implied that he's way more smart and knows way more about everything than he lets on. Because after they have their bonding moment, and we'll get back to it in a second about how he almost kills him and everything, but post that, they're talking and they're bonding and they're having ice cream and stuff. Ben Wyatt talks about he didn't really know his dad growing up and everything. And, like Lucas outright talks about the fact that he is in contact with his dad sometimes, like through the television or through his puppets or whatever. Like, he talks to the devil, basically.
And that the devil wants full custody.
Yeah. And that's, like, specifically a part of the plot where the devil's talking about how he wants to, like, go through him as a vessel and all this stuff. And, the whole thing, like, resolution for the movie is that, partially because of his bond with his stepdad, he says, hey, like, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Like, you can choose what you want to do. And it's actually kind of a really sweet, thing.
Yeah, it's nice.
But now do you want to talk about how he almost kills him first?
Yeah. So they go through this whole day of bonding, and for whatever reason, maybe he just likes water parks. Maybe he just had like a good breakfast that morning, but Lucas is in a good mood. So they're going around the water park and they're having a good time and they're doing super soaker fights and going on rafts in the lazy river. And the whole time, Lucas has this goat puppet that he holds on his hand in the water park, like the whole time, which is comedic.
Earlier in the movie, it was much more scary because he would use it to make very deep, growling, demonic voices saying, like, Ben Wyatt, I'll send you to hell, or stuff like that.
Yeah. And they go through this whole day, and at one point, Gary looks at him and goes, oh man, I don't think I've ever heard you laugh before.
Or smile at me or anything.
Yeah, and the kid gets like a little quieter, but he still like seems to be having a good time. And then he goes, I think I'm ready for the water slide now. and goes and runs up the water slide, and they get to the top of the water slide, and Gary, he's had this whole day of bonding with his son, and he gets out those sand floaties.
Yeah, he straps on these weighted down sand floaties that he had made earlier when his plan was to kill him.
Yeah.
I mean, because, again, like, watching the movie, he does have, like, justification for it. Like, the whole movie, he's been tormented by this kid. You know, he's been, like, he does have a lot of legitimate proof that he is the Antichrist.
He does believe that everybody's probably going to die if he doesn't kill this kid.
Right, so he's super conflicted in classic Ben Wyatt fashion.
Yeah, but he definitely has follow through with that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the kid he had just been chasing around with, like, a water gun laughing, and it seemed to, like, laugh for the first time.
And then he straps on these floaties and goes, now these might feel heavy, but I promise they'll make you float when you hit the water.
Which is, wow, Ben. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
to be fair, he's very stressed about it.
Yeah. And then he sends the kid down the inner tube, and then there's a plane going through the sky, because he had been conflicted about killing the kid earlier, back with the survivalist guy.
You know,
and
like
the survivalist
you
guy said, "Oh, you're just going to get, like, a sign from God, and you'll know." And he's up at the top of this water tower, and he sees this, like, Skyrider plane, which, I don't know, are those out? I've never seen a Skyrider plane once in my life.
No, I think they're real. I mean, I think they're less prevalent now, but I think the only Skyriders I see are the ones that are carrying the billboards for, like, Trojan condoms or whatever.
Oh, yeah, I'd forgotten about that. That one was flying around our campus. Anyways, man, I wish it had actually been writing the letters with its plume in the sky.
And
that would have been funnier.
Just draws a little square, little condom thing under it and says "safety first."
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. But he sees a Skyrider spell out the word love, which is good on God for giving just a very obvious sign.
I like to interpret it as that was not a sign from God at all. That just happened to be in the sky that day. Like someone was writing a message for their girlfriend or something, like, "Love you, Samantha."
That's good. But Gary goes, "Oh my God, Lucas," and then dives down the slide. And there's this moment where this kid behind him, because he basically, like, cut in front of some people in line, and the kid behind him goes, "Yeah, it's a pretty good slide."
Yeah, but, you know, there's this whole moment where he rescues him from the water. I think it's almost meant to parallel a baptism in a way.
Maybe.
I didn't think of that until I just now thought of it right now.
I didn't think of that either.
Because there's this whole thing where, like, he gets dunked in the water and he's kind of floating under the water with his floaties for a second.
Yeah.
Ben Wyatt comes and, like, snags him. And as he pulls him up, there's this, like, imagery of him pulling him up to the light. And, you know, his goat puppet kind of, like, drops off of his hand.
The floaties and the demon goat puppet fall away.
Yeah.
And he is born anew.
In Christ Jesus. Amen.
Yeah. In actual baptisms, it is rather frowned upon to bring in a goat puppet and talk in a creepy voice to your priest beforehand, but, you know.
Yeah, they put that explicitly in the rules at my church.
Like, no goat puppets, please.
But yeah, there's that whole thing, you know, he gets really close to him. Then there's the whole penultimate, the end of the movie, where they basically have to take on the cult people.
Yeah.
And, you know, Ben Wyatt pulls him up from this pit, and they kick the Reverend into the pit where Satan was.
I thought the movie was going to end after he saves the kid, but then there's, like, an Amber Alert put out on him.
Yeah.
And he gets arrested and then has to, like, this random, the
homeless guy.
Was he, like, I think he was supernatural at the end, that it was implied that he was some sort of, like, weird angel guy.
Yeah, he said some kind of cryptic thing, like, "You'll save us all," or something.
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of the parallel between, like, a lot of people talking about how the world's going to end and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so then he gets arrested, but then he gets let out, and they kidnap Lucas, and they kidnap his wife, and they take him to the creepy nunnery, and there's this whole ceremony, and they sneak in, and Ben Wyatt punches an old lady.
And there's no justification given for why the Reverend and this cult have, like, a complete control of the police department of this city. They just stick the cops, like No, because the cops aren't just like responding to an Amber Alert. They take the like Reverend and stuff there and like keep everyone out of the way when like they drive off with the kid and everything. Like,
oh yeah, that's weird.
No, it's very strongly implied that the Satanists just have a complete control of this town. They just own this town. Once again, we don't know how cops work, so we don't know. As a running gag, we don't know how cops work.
And there will never be an episode where we know how cops work.
And that's the way we're going to keep it. Because that's the way we like it.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, no, it's a cool ending with like cool special effects. A fiery dragon Satan kind of coming out of the pit. Coolio.
Yeah. And because the kid doesn't die, but a pit to hell kind of opens up anyways, which is weird. But Ben Wyatt climbs out with the kid, which in like a move that defies physics, because he literally lets go at one point. He did fall, yes. Yeah, and then climbs back out. Apparently there's a hidden ledge. And then it's all good. And then the ending gag is them all driving off in Al's giant monster truck, and the one dad saying, oh, I've got my kid's backpack in the back if you're all ready to do this. And every single dad seems very into, like, very cool with pooping in this kid's backpack.
We get all the story knots tied up that we want to get. We see Adam and his son with a strong bond. We see their marriage restored. We see hope for the future. And everyone finally shits in this guy's backpack.
Which is not an adult's method of solving problems, but
it is, you know, sometimes it's the right one.
I don't think so.
Sometimes the right thing to do is to just shit in a backpack.
I can think of very few situations where that would be the correct answer, but you know what? I'll take your word for it.
Well, then, Melissa, let's just say you probably shouldn't like do something to me that I would need to, you know, like do something like that to repay it.
Michael, do not shit in my backpack.
Well, yeah, just it's fine. I mean, again, as long as you like are nice to me and everything's good, like I won't ever shit in your backpack.
All right.
Yeah, so that's kind of the movie.
Yeah.
And is there any other? I'm trying to remember any last minute stuff.
Overall, just like, please, if you have any interest in this subject, please watch this movie. It's not exactly high art, but it's such a good ride, and I really enjoyed it.
It's a delight. I definitely think this is probably the most solid movie we've watched so far. Yeah, then if we think we're all done, let's proceed to some quick numeros, some quick ratings of this movie. I think I'll go first this time. I feel like you usually go first.
Alrighty, give me your numbers.
All right, literary merit. Okay. I guess literary merit seems weird because it was kind of just fluffy and fun and not super hard-hitting, but at the same time, I don't know, for just kind of playing off of the tropes and just a new idea is the thing. Yeah. You see so many rehashings nowadays and so many like revamps and remakes and everything. Every time I see like a little just kind of new play on something, I'm not going to say that this is probably like, I'm not going to say it's never been done before because I don't know. But, and obviously they pull a lot from other existing stuff like to goof off of, but just having a solid cast, a fun premise and going with it.
And kind of being a sweet story about a dad and his kid.
I think I'll give it a 6. I think that's fair for me. Fun factor, I'm going to give it a 9 actually.
Oh, nice.
I think because on the spreadsheet there's a 6 and then there's a 9 now. On that note, horniness is going to be, I guess, a 3. You know, I mean, not a lot of the plot's not focused on the horniness. Yeah. Overall, just Adam Scott and Evangeline Lilly are actually a fairly like good-looking and very attractive couple. So that's just worth the points in and of itself. Just the fact that they seem very nice together.
Yes.
Horny in the most wholesome way.
Yeah.
And honestly, check that out. That gives me a solid 6 for my rating, which I think fits very thematically.
Nice.
How about you?
See, I was honestly tempted to go with a score of 6 in each category. But
that would be too easy.
Yeah, but that would be too easy and also incorrect for this movie.
It is not 6 horny.
So I decided it's gonna still, for me, I agree with your 6 for literary merit. That's really good. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna give it a fun factor of 8, not because I didn't think it was super fun, just because, I don't know, I feel like I'm saving 9 and 10 for something that just smacks me in the head with fun.
Yeah, I think I kind of view it the same way, but at the same time, I think I'm the kind of person where I'm willing to dole out 9s and everything. Yeah. Like, because it's not necessarily an actual scaling thing for me in terms of enjoyment, but it's for me, I'm saving that 10 for, like, something very special.
Yeah. And then I'm going to give horniness, I think maybe a 5, actually.
Whoa.
Just because of the strong implications that... 4 or 5. I was going between the two. Just because of the strong implications that this lady was done by the devil, and also, like, all the weird oiled up massage scenes that happened while they were conducting conversations.
No, and that's what I was saying. Like, that was part of where my horniness came from. Just, like, that was actually just kind of a sweet, like, very, like, I don't know, just wholesome, but, like, you know, very just good, just couple scene of, like, them being, like, what's intimacy? I don't know why I struggled so much to have that word. But, yeah, and also vis-a-vis our horny conversation, that tracks.
Yeah,
about horniness for the movie.
Yeah.
There are several people with horns, or implied horns.
But,
Gotcha.
Yeah. Also, I don't want to spend too long on this because we're pushing time a little bit, but I just wanted to say that if they ever made a sequel of this movie, I just really want them to make a sequel where it's maybe Lucas is a little bit older, but it's Thanksgiving and the devil, either in a human form or in, like, literally full devil makeup, just shows up. And there's like a who's the better dad competition between Gary and the literal devil.
So you're saying Daddy's Home featuring Will Ferrell and the other guy.
But with Ben Wyatt
it's Ben Wyatt and someone playing Satan.
Yeah, and the Antichrist is their son, whom they are fighting over the affections for.
Okay, God, this is the second really, like, the best movie pitch we've had on here.
Right?
I might have to start keeping, like, a running tally of any time we have, like, a pitch of a spin-off or a sequel to one of the movies that we have watched.
Yeah, and maybe... Yeah, no, I would watch that movie.
I would watch the hell out of that movie. All right, yeah, I guess that's it.
Well, we are going to talk about our plans for for the holidays. We are going to be watching maybe a famously bad holiday-themed movie on Netflix.
Going a little mainstream with this one.
Which is The Christmas Prince.
The Christmas Princey.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about this movie? Because I definitely don't.
I don't have my phone on me. I was going to ask you to pull it up and hit us with a synopsis.
I'll find a quick synopsis. Man, for some reason I thought, like, A Christmas Prince was from a long time ago.
No, it's pretty recent, but I feel like it's gained a lot of popularity. I've heard a lot about it. One of our friends is really obsessed with it. Another one of my friends watched every movie in the series, and while she was watching the last one, she just kept coming out of her room to complain about what a bad movie it was. I'm like, why are you watching it then, Kendall?
Well, we're watching it because we care about bad movies, and we want to nurture them and help them grow into the terrible, awful, well-known movies that they can be. I don't have a synopsis, but I basically just have the tagline, when a reporter goes undercover as a tutor to get the inside scoop on a Playboy prince, she gets tangled up in some royal intrigue and ends up finding love. But will she be able to keep up her lie?
Ooh, woo, 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 woo. Alrighty.
Melissa's ooh-wooing over here. Anyway.
I'm woo-wooing.
Sure. Yeah, so we're going to be doing that, and that episode's going to come out on Christmas, and we're going to try our damnedest. I haven't discussed this with Melissa, but I just kind of thought of this. I think we'll probably try to make it our first, like, not explicit episode.
Yeah.
Make it our first family-friendly
for the
one.
holiday spirit.
Uh-huh.
I was going real hard with the unexplicit here.
Oh, no. Okay. No, we're not like, I mean, we've had discussions about, you know, do we want to just by default make our episodes more explicit?
Yeah.
Or I guess we'll be releasing them, you know, depending on just whatever content comes up in the episode, you know?
Yeah.
But I think generally speaking, usually we're a little bit more comfortable just feeling more free to discuss whatever we want to discuss.
That's true.
And
Some movies it's impossible to do it without.
Yeah, you just have to talk about the dinglings in it, you know how it is. But yeah, so it'll be a clean one. It'll come out on Christmas Day. Obviously, probably won't listen to it on Christmas Day. You guys have much more important stuff to do, but we're really excited for it. It's going to be nice.
But on the day after, on Boxing Day, we will be waiting for you, like the Christmas dinner leftovers in your fridge.
Yes, and this podcast will be in your queue, downloaded because you've already subscribed to us and left us a nice rating on Apple Podcasts.
Heck yeah.
And it'll just be all ready for you to click on and hear our wonderful, friendly voices in your ears like you always like.
And if any of you send us an email between now and when we record that, we can tell you who sent in the email and what we're going to be watching next.
Yes. Please send us an email so we'll be ready. Send us an email, you cowards. That's right, I said it.
Send us an email or Michael will come to your home.
I don't know if you know this, but every time you listen or download to one of our podcasts, I do get a spreadsheet of all of your addresses, social security numbers, and credit card numbers. I'm either going to go on a shopping spree, hire a hitman on you, or steal your identity. So someone better start sending us emails, or I'm just going to pull a name from the list and start going for it.
Michael is lying about that, although
Michael's not lying. Michael never lies.
We do get a spreadsheet of what states and or countries we get downloads from. I just wanted to say, shout out to like the 3 people outside the U.S. who keep downloading our podcast. It makes me happy.
Shout out to the one dude in Sweden who followed us and listens to us and followed us on Twitter. You're great.
I don't know who you are, but you're the best, and I hope we don't freak you out by calling you out here on our podcast.
We do very much appreciate it, but either way, if any of y'all have a movie you want us to watch, let us know.
We just wanted to say that you're cool.
You're cool, and we love you. All right, this has been Are You Still Listening? A podcast about Netflix. And
yeah.
And do you want to do the thing that we did last time?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we'll keep...
We'll keep talking.
If you keep listening. We'll figure it out.
We'll work on the execution.
Bye, you guys.